Hey guys, thank you for coming back. So, if you're taking your business and finance exam, you will need to study this book, which is Builder's Guide to Accounting. So, I'm gonna go over the highlighting guide with you guys. First chapter is why keep records. Reducing your cost while achieving maximum efficiency is the goal of a well designed bookkeeping system, right? Let's see. Down below, we have the records you need. But if you can make good use of financial information in your books, you'll be more informed manager. The more insight you develop, the more effective you'll become. Right side of the page, we have sales. The sales journal is a detailed record of all your income from operations. You need this detail for financial statements. It also provides a good way for you to see how you're doing compared to last year, last month, or last week. The comparison of income to past performance is very important to you in planning. Down below, good sales records are also helpful in finding the right market for your services. Because there are so many different kinds of contracting markets, you must know which ones will let you compete most profitably. So, next page we have receivables. Naturally, you need to know who owes you money. Your method of keeping track of receivables is important to the accuracy of your billings, your collections, bad debts, and financial statements. Many builders run into their single largest bookkeeping problem when it comes to keeping track of receivables. So that's very important. Right side of the page, the check register is a listing of all checks with expenses broken down into categories. It's important to write up this record each month, or even better, each week. In this page, guys, I did put a tab here. As we go through the book, I will tell you where I put tabs. So here it's a good idea to put sales journal. And that's something that helped me out during this exam. So on page 10, we have bank accounts. Don't depend on your bank to keep your checkbook straightened out. Balance your bank account every month to be sure how much cash you really have. Down below, after all, if you add up your own bank deposits, prepare your own checks, and figure all the math, who's better suited to prove the balance? Don't assume that the bank statement ending balance shows your true cash condition. The bank statement doesn't reflect checks that haven't cleared. Unless you balance the amount, you don't know the real balance. Right hand side of the page, guys, we have cash on hand. Most builders need a cash fund for the little expenses that come up from day-to-day COD, deliveries, postage due, coffee and donuts, a newspaper expense too small to write out a check for. Next paragraph, setting up a controlled petty cash fund is the best way to control these disbursements. In a petty cash system, you vouch for all expenses by replacing cash removed with a slip of paper, a voucher that explains the reason for the expense or lists an account number and gives the amount. So this is very important as well. This is something that you will most likely get a question from, which is petty cash, and it's good to circle these words because they will pop up during the exam. On the next page, page 11, we have continuing under equipment records. Your records should let you calculate the hourly cost of owning and operating your equipment. Down below, overhead expenses. The fixed Necessary expenses of being in business are often considered to be uncontrollable. Your record of past overhead expenses is the best indication of what you expect in the future. A good budget for overhead expense will serve as an important guideline for month-to-month planning. Right hand side of the page, continuing under estimating records. Following a set procedure on every bid will save time and assure better accuracy. Use the same formula for every bid to make the entire estimate fall together smoothly. The best estimate use carefully prepared past cost records to back up their conclusions. Records by job. We have compare the cost for each job against your estimate. Accruals. Cash received and paid out in business does not reflect the whole financial picture. Bills you have sent out are income, even before the cash comes in, and the bills you owe are direct costs or operating expenses. Even before you mail the checks, these billed accounts are very real parts of your financial picture at any time. These are called accruals. It is generally a good idea to let your accountant handle these entries. On this page, guys, I did put tabs for overhead expense and accruals. Page 12, we have the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts is a numbered list of the accounts on your general ledger and operating statement. Down below we have ratios. Financial and operating ratios are very useful to builders and contractors who understand their meaning. These ratios show the month-to-month trend of your business. These trends are useful in revealing financial statements themselves. Ratios help you find the good and the bad situations and show the relative health of your business. Right side of the page under financial statements, we have the third paragraph. For instance, a statement that compares this year's performance to last year's is valuable for finding out whether your management skills are producing profits and whether your financial health is improving or declining. We don't have nothing on the next page, but we do have a tab here, which I put chart of accounts, which is very important as well, something you will more than likely see on your exam. Next page is page 15. We have double entry bookkeeping, very important. The most common modern bookkeeping method is called double entry bookkeeping. So they might ask you what is the most common modern bookkeeping method, and it is the double entry bookkeeping. On the right hand side of the page, double entry bookkeeping is so called because every transaction requires two entries, one debit and one credit. One debit is any entry made to the left side of the account, and a credit is entry made to the right side. The total of all the debts always equals the total of all the credits. The total of all accounts will be zero if the general ledger is accurate. In other words, the debit balances pluses and the credit balances minuses. So down here we have assets, debit, and credit, just like it was explaining. And here it shows all of your liabilities, net worth, sales, cost of goods sold, and expenses. On this page, guys, I emphasize double entry bookkeeping on the tab, so make sure you put a tab there. And the next page is page 16. The debit increases an expense account. Expense accounts are usually debt balance accounts, and decrease the balance of cash, also a debit balance account. The general ledger. All entries to the general ledger, the record that summarizes all business operations. Right hand side of the page, we have debts and credits will always balance to zero. Figure 1.1 shows the traditional ledger page. Debits are posted on the left side and credits on the right. Figure 1.2 shows the result of posting to a single general ledger account from several sources. The T account, so named because of the letter T created by the lines, is used here to demonstrate this. The T account is simply a way of separating debts and credits on worksheet. On the right hand side of page 17, we have the financial statements. Financial statements are reports which express information summarized from the general ledger. The balance sheet is one of the main three financial statements. It's listing of properties, assets, debts, liabilities, and ownership value, net worth. The term balance sheet refers to, and I have assets equal liabilities plus net worth highlighted. Also down below, guys, the income statement, also called statement of profit and loss or summary of operation, list income, direct costs, operating expenses. The income statement reports the results of operations within a defined period, such as 1 month, 1 quarter, or 1 year. On this page, I tabbed assets, so that's a good one right there. Page 10, we have the statement of cash flows. Down below, we have last year's income compared to this year's will reveal the good and bad trends, the business, and the increase or decrease in volume, expenses, and profits. So that was it for the highlighting guide of chapter 1, guys. I highly recommend you go through the test questions. This is very helpful in retaining a lot of the information. And I want to remind you guys, a lot of the highlighted portions here are in the index. This has a very good index, but it does help to highlight it. And I recommend going through the highlighting guide at least 3 times with some practice questions that you guys can find somewhere in different types of schools, but this highlighting guide definitely helps. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.